Hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Fun Fans Podcast. I'm your host, James Dillard. With me, as always, my co-host, Coach Bailey Jackson. How you doing, Bailey?
I'm good, good. Just another Sunday, gloomy Sunday, even though the sun was out today.
Yeah, it was a very nice day indeed. Bailey, this is our 50th show this calendar year. So
What?
you and I weren't the only things to hit 50 this year. But speaking of, we have a great show today. We're going to be as positive as the integers on the right side of zero. A little bit of math joke there. Clemson did not lose in regulation. We're going to talk about that. And there were some other upsets, though. There's sometimes that's fun. There's nothing to be upset about viewing the game between the pool and the fire at Bailey's house. That was cool. And there are plenty of other fun games to talk about from this weekend. And we got a little very special ending. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and on all forms of social media. The Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
And don't forget to pick up your game day food at Reuben's Sports Spirits and Catering, the best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate. In Greer on 1083 Batesville Road, I've been to that location, and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont, I've also been to that location. Find them at RubensC.com. Rubens is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans, and we had only a few less TVs going last night than Rubens.
Yeah, we had a pretty good setup. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But let's get to the game. Obviously, Clemson dropped its second overtime game to a team from Florida in the same school year. I don't know, same football season. Not sure how often that has happened. But you know what? It was kind of odd. At the end of that game, it was an odd feeling of like why we lost the game. Okay, so we talk about some things. In my opinion, there are 2 things that lost the game for us, and the second one is more than just one big thing. It was basically the fourth quarter. We lost the fourth quarter. 10-0 in the fourth quarter. We were winning the game by 10 points, double digits, and lost the fourth quarter. So I don't know, maybe they need the hype video to play when they're on the road or something. And that was key. And really, people forget because it happened so early in the game, but that fumble going into the end zone, that seems to be some kind of theme going on, unfortunately, for Clemson this football season. I mean, you just don't know about what's going to happen with momentum and the next plays and all this kind of stuff. And obviously, that's 7 points. That those 2 things in my opinion. Other than that, we didn't run the ball. Our running backs only got like 40-something yards between the 2 of them. But Maffa only carried the ball 5 times, but I didn't get the impression we were trying to run the ball. We still had almost 400 yards of offense. So I just don't. You were saying it while we were watching the game. Miami's players they were playing better. Those are really good athletes. They were flying around the place. They were making plays, and they played really. We get everybody's A game.
Right.
And they played really, really well. When you fumble going into the end zone, and when this team's all hype, you're playing right into what they've told themselves all week. That's why I say that's so important, even though it was at the beginning of the game. And no one play wins or loses the game. But you're playing right into the hype they've had to tell themselves all week long about how we're going, they can beat Clemson and da-da-da-da-da, and just plays right into their game plan. But yeah, I mean, the fourth quarter, they made more plays than we did. I don't, when the game was over, once you get into overtime, it's a coin toss, So,
yeah, and I mean, everybody is going to talk about one play in overtime. Okay, we know it's been said already. He was supposed to hand the ball off. All right. Dabo said it. It's all over Twitter. It was a called run play.
Right.
So the quarterback did a little ad-libbing.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm just telling you, and I'm gonna try to stay positive. There needs to be some some seat time if you're not going to do what we tell you to do.
Oh, well, I mean, and you and I both coaches, and that's not, and we talked about this ever since last year we started this podcast. That's not negative. You're still teaching these kids. All of them are young. We give them a pass because of how young they are a lot of times, but at the same time, they still need to be coached. And, some time on the sideline is coaching. And I said that for the 2 years that DJ was out there. When he would get into a funk, he needed to sit out for a series and watch and listen and have somebody in his ear, not yelling at him, coaching him.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, Cade, he needs some quality time with the coaches.
So if that were to happen, so we had a play where he made a bad read earlier in the year. That's going to happen. And then he had a play last night where he decided he was going to try to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that shouldn't happen.
If that happens early in the game, I just if I'm the coach, I just pull him out and say, you need to think about what you just did.
Yeah.
Just watch the game for a little bit. Now, enough said on that. My take on it is we got worn down. It was really hot. It's been really nice up in the upstate for a couple weeks. And then your body kind of gets out of condition to playing in humid, hot conditions, and they wore us down, period. They were able to run the ball, and that made them able to throw it when they needed to.
Yeah. And we talked about this too, and we've said it all year. We are extremely young. If you look at the teams that are doing really well, they've got veteran players all across the board. Obviously every team has some young players, but our quarterback is a first-year starter, true sophomore. Our backfield are the only veteran folks, and they're making youthful mistakes. Our defense is extremely young.
Mm-hmm.
So,
except for the linebackers, but the two best defensive linemen last night were true freshmen.
Yeah, and the our receiving core, pretty much the entire receiving room. Those guys are really, really young. So
I would say Brenningstool had a great game.
Had a great
and that's what Dabo's been talking about for a year or two. That he's a dude, know. But Antonio Williams unfortunately turned his ankle again or did something, got hurt again, and you saw what he could do.
Yeah.
And then Cole Turner's out for the year, so you got guys that you were counting on that are not there. And so I'm not.
Hey, and the young guys are stepping up.
About losing. It's going to pay off in the long run. Okay,
without a doubt.
People only see short-term results. We know that. We live in a microwave world. You want your food done.
Welcome. That's right. So the sky is not falling.
Mm-mm.
And
beautiful day today.
Beautiful day today. The ACC, and now we'll say this is ironic if that's the right word. We talk about how we needed some help to stay in the hunt to get a chance at the ACC title game. And of course we needed to win out and we didn't, but on the night that we didn't, the Virginia Cavaliers beat the North Carolina Tar Heels. Unbelievable.
Congratulations, Tony Elliott.
Big time.
I feel a connection to Virginia because of, one, former Clemson players playing for them.
Yeah.
Two, former Clemson coaches. And then my first cousin's wife went to school there and her son went to school there. So we have this little family thread where we talk about the Cavaliers, mainly during basketball season.
Yeah.
But congratulations to them. And then, Duke hung in there for a while too.
Duke hung in there for a while. And and you're the stat guy, but I heard this. That was Virginia's first road conference win in program history. That can't be right. Is that right?
No. It was the first time a 1-5 team had beat a top 10 team on the road since 1961.
Maybe something like that. So
anyway, that's a long time ago.
That is a long time ago. Very, very long time. But yeah, FSU outlasted Duke. Speaking of, just kind of wearing them down, I guess. FSU's for real.
Yeah, and Duke's good too.
And Duke's good. Duke is really good. and FSU is legit. They got some players. They know how to make some plays, and they got it done. That's just the only way there is to it. So some other fun games of the weekend. I'm just going to be completely honest. A lot of games didn't help us out with a lot of fun material over the weekend. What was the big game, and it was a big game, was Penn State versus Ohio State. But honestly, from a generic college football fan standpoint, it was typical
Glad
Big
that
Ten
wasn't
stuff.
the night. I'd have been taking a nap.
Man, that was congratulations to the Buckeyes and all. But
now I will say this: if we saw the end of the Iowa game, and they called a fair catch signal, and someone on Twitter today had pointed out 4 other times they missed fair catch signals in the same game that were more dramatic than what he did on that punt return.
I think they got shafted. Just my personal opinion. The Iowa coach in the press conference afterwards, this is what he said, and if this is true, they definitely got shafted. He says it's one of those things, and you've done it before. You meet with the referees before the game, and they point out that a fair catch is a hand above the head. And that kid's hand, it wasn't even above his shoulder.
It almost looked like he was waving people away from it.
Something, but anyway. Definitely did not look like a fair catch. That made the end of that game exciting. And now the Utah Southern Cal game was a fun game to watch. That was a little bit of back and forth, and it was tight at the end and came down to a last-minute field goal. So congratulations.
Walk-on quarterback with the scramble to get him in the field goal position, and then he made it.
Yeah, to the Utes. Congrats to the Utes over the Trojans.
Did you hear what the Utah coach said?
Well, you tell me what.
He said, well, they've got a Heisman Trophy guy playing quarterback. We've got a pig farmer playing quarterback. We love our guy, too. I thought
that was funny. Straight off the couch.
That's right.
All right. And then, honestly, so the last game we'll talk about then, and this was fun to watch if you're a Missouri fan. But we always talk about our friends down the road, and they didn't play very well. I mean, let's just be honest. And that I'm being not biased Clemson guy. I think even the Carolina fans, they should have done a little bit better. Mizzou's pretty good and all, but
Well, I play golf a lot on Sundays with a group of Carolina fans, with Clemson guys. One guy likes North Carolina, like 2 guys like North Carolina. There was no discussion of college football this morning.
Yeah. What are we getting our kids for Christmas type stuff? So anyway, I think the Gamecocks just need a little bit of energy. Maybe they need to scan this QR code or go to w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS for 10% off of your non-jittery energy powder mix. It's good stuff. Very refreshing. Any other games, Bailey? I believe that's enough for football games.
Yeah, I would. No, can't think of any right off the top of my head. It was
all right.
One of those days.
Well, being part of so Bailey and I never claimed to be part of the media, even though I think we kind of are. We're entertainment with a sports media foundation. So we're going to do one thing that media talking heads do. We're going to beat the college football committee to some rankings, and in true fun fan form, we're going to start with something besides football teams first. My research.
Hey, let me do this first. Hey, last Wednesday I made a comment about Dabo reaching the win total way faster than Frank Howard, and and someone out there, and we thank you for listening, pointed out that yes, in fact, that did happen, but the ACC was only like 17 years versus 14 and a half for Dabo. So thank you for pointing that out. I apologize for the mistake.
Well, I mean, but no, yeah, we all
now let's go to the fun stuff.
We're aware that the seasons were shorter back then and stuff, but so either way, yeah. So, and this is kind of weird the way this happened. I'm watching a game, and it was one of those during the week games, and you could see on the backside of the stadium there was a Taco Bell like right there, and it was like 9:30 on a Tuesday, Thursday, whatever night it was, and it was like it was empty. And I remember having a conversation with my daughter about, look at there, how in the world is a Taco Bell like there's nobody there at 9:30 right at a college football game? And then, I guess it's just mental telepathy. My research guy, Coach Bailey Jackson, sends me the FBS school rankings by walking distance from the stadium to the nearest Taco Bell. So if you're listening to audio only, you can't see this graphic, but you need to check it out. I might post it with the podcast Spotify part and everything. But this is how close Taco Bell. It's a top 14 list, and we won't go through the whole thing. But look how close the Taco Bell is to Tulsa.
There's a couple ACC schools in there.
There's a couple.
And a new one, Cal.
Yeah. So Cal is at number 6 at 0.4 of a mile. Going to number 1, that is 2/100ths of a mile. So just to put that in perspective for folks that may not have a good understanding of decimals and stuff, that is approximately 106 feet.
That's in the stadium or right outside.
It's literally a third of the football field away from the stadium to get from the stadium to the Taco Bell. I mean, how is that not? Why are we just now finding this out? So the first ACC team, the number 3 team in the country, is Pitt at 0.2 of a mile from the stadium. And Alabama's, are they on every top something list? Look at Alabama.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every one of them on that list is within a half mile. So enjoy some Taco Bell if you go to a game at one of those places.
Yeah. All right. So that's fun. I appreciate Bailey sharing that. And it was just complete coincidence that my daughter and I were talking about that. All right. So we're going to give our top 6. We're going to beat the committee to it. And just a real quick explanation, because this is what everybody wonders. I am going to predict as if the season was over right now and I was putting the teams who would be the 4 in and the first 2 out, and that's me. This is my opinion. I'm not trying to predict what the committee is going to say in a week or so when they come out. I'm not trying to predict who's going to be in the playoffs come December. That's not what I'm doing. The way I'm doing my poll right now is who would be in if the season was over right now. This is just me, my opinion. We'll get Bailey's and then we'll compare a little bit. Number 6, I got Ohio State at 6. And I don't have a graphic for this, but it'll be fine. I have Oklahoma at 5. I have Washington at 4, Michigan at 3, FSU at 2, and Georgia at 1. So in the playoffs will be Georgia versus Washington, 1 and 4, and FSU versus Michigan, 2 and 3, and then Oklahoma, Ohio State. They matched those up, right? The 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think so.
So they would be the first 2 out in my poll. And I mean, I ain't gonna sit here and defend all that. That's just what I think from what I've seen and what these guys have done on the field. What you got, Bailey?
I'll go Oklahoma 6 because they almost got beat by Central Florida. Yeah. And I have it written down over here, but I think maybe Ohio State is you have them 6, and I probably have Washington 5, Ohio State 4, FSU 3, Michigan 2, Georgia 1. And then if it were Michigan, Ohio State, the loser of that game is out.
Right.
But I would give a shout out. I was going to put Air Force, they're undefeated, and James Madison, they're undefeated. But shout out to those teams, even though we know they'll never get to the top 4.
Right. Bless their hearts. All right, so our top 4 was similar, other than I think you had Ohio State in and Washington out, and they were Michigan and FSU were flip-flopped. But really, the playoffs would only be different by 1 team, so that's pretty good. And obviously, Michigan, Ohio State will play, so we'll see and all this kind of stuff. But that's why I'm saying, as of right now, if hypothetically, if the season were over, and we'll see how that compares. We'll maybe get that on a graphic or something and put it up sometime soon. All right. On to one of our favorite segments, the fun, not fun fan experiences of the weekend. Okay. A fun experience is being able to go to South Beach to attend a Clemson away game as a student, especially if you're part of like the cheer squad or the band or something like Bailey's daughter, Katie, was a part of. So those kind of things are really cool. I was in the band for a couple of years going to bowl games and stuff, and we never got to go to Miami. But I'm sure that was a great experience, and hopefully it was a great trip for those kids, even though we lost at the end. What's not fun is when your dining situation prevents you from using your per diem card.
Yeah.
Not fun. Not
and
fun
then
for
your
dad.
is like a constant Venmo person back in. Hey, Dad, my per diem card's not doing this, not doing that. Can you send me some more money? Keep going.
There's got to be a way to have those kids be able to sit down at dinner and still use their per diem card. All right. So fun. This was fun. Watching 3 games at a time outside by a fire. It was a great setup. Bailey had 2 screens and also a projector on a projecting screen that ended up being, that's probably 40, 50 something inch type deal once it got up on the screen. So that was great. Not fun was the way my clothes smelled the next day because the fire.
We had a wind direction problem.
I was completely prepared for that. But that's that stuff.
We had a bad wind yesterday.
It had smelled up the whole bottom of the place. All right, fun upsets. Upsets are fun to your generic. If you're watching a game and you don't have a dog in the fight, you're pulling for the underdog.
I always pull for the underdog.
Yeah, and the University of Virginia campus, they will be loving it. They're going to be partying all week long because of that upset, but not fun is being on the losing side of the upset like the Tigers were. So anyway, all right, so that's our fun, not fun segment.
All right, I got one more not fun.
Let's do it.
Okay, announcers. I realize that the transfer portal is a thing, okay, and we're going to deal with it. But please stop announcing players that play for, let's say, Miami or any other team as running back transfer from so-and-so. Okay, he's no longer part of that school.
Yeah.
He's on that team. He's just a running back or receiver. Stop saying transfer from this place.
I messed up. I meant to, and if I don't write something, that's why I write stuff down. I meant to introduce you as my co-host, Coach Bailey Jackson, transfer from Fort Mill High School or something like that. But
I'm not leaving. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that gets a little bit old, announcer guys. We appreciate where the kids are now, and at this point, we don't need to hear where they transferred from every single time you call their name or number. All right. So one final shout out to Bailey and his hospitality, Jay as well. That was a great time last night in the city with Love in the middle. We're going to be coming back this Wednesday night at 8:30 with our midweek special, and we're going to preview Clemson's game against NC State. Hey, shout out to the C-Dub.
Which is 2 p.m.
2 p.m. on the C-Dub, and they've got the ref cams. Is that like a new – we're going to have to do our own little ref?
Listen, man, we talked about it early in the season. You have to keep winning, or you're going to end up on a CW game.
Yeah. So
a 2 o'clock CW game.
Well, a 2 o'clock CW game's fine. I just listen. If we end up with one of them 11 a.m. CW games, I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about that. But
well,
I tell you what, I feel good about some Diamond Etch products.
That's right. They have mastered the diamond laser engraving process, where they put almost any design on items such as license plates, yard signs, and look on your screen if you're watching this, water bottles, and I've got some of it. It's high quality stuff. Okay. Email Jaylin, Jaylin at diamondetchproducts.com for more information. And don't forget that Diamond Etch Products is now an official partner with Clemson University. So you can get all that good Clemson stuff.
That's right. Email Jaylin. Awesome. So thanks again for checking us out each and every week. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fan Podcast YouTube channel. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the show. It was our 50th show, and it was The Sky Is Not Falling, and it's time for the special ending. I found some. Listen up, Clemson fans. And show your support for the team. If anytime the players need, I need to turn it up a little bit. Yeah, if there's any time the team needed you to be there in that stadium, it's the rest of this season. We've got Notre Dame coming to town. We got the Textile Bowl coming up on Saturday. We have Military Appreciation Day, and those Tar Heels are coming. And you know what? We're going to round out the season with a victory against those Gamecocks. So, Clemson fans, you just turn your hat around backwards, suck it up, put another plug of tobacco in, and find your Spittoon nearby and show up and show out and scream as loud as you've ever screamed before at a football game. And you just tell them, go Tigers.
And you tell them the Fun Fan sent you.
All right. Yeah, that turned out better than I thought. We had to clip that or something. But I mean it. I mean every word.
They might put it on the Jumbotron.
Don't have me doing speeches. All right, we'll be back next Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Please follow us on social media and share. Archive shows can be found on thefanboys.com. On behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, J Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
Go Tigers.
Thanks for listening.